I got that ambition. I got that ambition. I got that. What's up, y'all? Smoak here. What's good? In this video, I'm gonna be watching worst matches in the dying days of WCW by WrestleMania. Now, I barely, and I mean barely, watched WCW. I was born in the late 90s. I was so I WCW shut down like when 2001, 2002 or something like that. Even with the WWE Network slash Peacock, I never bothered to go back and watch anything. No pay-per-views, no special edition of Nitro, whatever of WCW. ECW, I did. I'll go back and watch like a whole pay-per-view. I must have watched like at least 3 of them or 4 of them. It's been so long. Like I made probably like what, Guilty as Charged, and I think Heat Wave. Like what, 98? I think 98 or 2000 or something. I was like, yo, this is crazy. The matches, man, went crazy. But WCW though, I just didn't. I didn't feel the need to watch it. I don't know. I know it's good stuff. Like what, the late 90s, like around where I was, like around the period I was born. I guess what appealed to me about ECW was that it was different from WWE because it was hardcore style based. Really, WCW just another wrestling like company that's just as this. That's basically the same as WWE. I guess that's what turned me off from watching it on Peacock. I know, like towards the end of the company's run, it turned into a total hole. Vince Russo didn't do the best job at in terms of like booking. So, there's that. But obviously, if I was going to go back and watch it, it will be like between like 95 to 99, right? But I'm here. That was like the best period. But yeah, let me go continue the video and see how bad the creative was when it came to these matches.
10 of the worst matches in WCW's dying days. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Number 10, Major Guns vs. Miss Hancock, New Blood Rising. One of the fundamental flaws of the final years of WCW was that they would devote TV time and pay-per-view time to individuals who couldn't have a remotely passable match. At the New Blood Rising pay-per-view, WCW booked Major Guns to take on Miss Hancock in a match titled Mud Rip Off the Clothes Match, and it was truly abysmal. The in-ring action was receiving audible laughs from the crowd, and for the 6-minute duration, Mark Madden on commentary was delivering sexist lines that have aged like milk. This was the WCW's version of the bra and panties match, yet this was so poorly executed that it was hardly a surprise that this would be one of the final times a match of this nature would be booked before WCW closed its doors forever. Number 9, David Flair vs. Kimberly.
Wait, Vince Russo thought that was good TV? I guess in a way, to appeal to the male audience at the time. The commentary, I don't know if he like decided to have control over that, but yeah, a bunch of sexist remark. I wonder what he said.
Page Mayhem 99. David Flair was given endless pushes in the final years of WCW, and most of them just fell flat. Flair wasn't good enough in the ring, and most of his character work was incredibly poor. Despite these common criticisms that were prominent at the time, Flair would be booked in numerous pay-per-view matches, including at the Mayhem 1999 pay-per-view where he was booked to wrestle non-wrestler Kimberly Page. The match began with Page getting on her knees, and it looked like Flair was going to hit her with his dreaded crowbar. Page would then pretend to seduce Flair before hitting him with a foreign object and then hitting him with a low blow. The match would then see Page delivering the worst kicks imaginable as the crowd heavily booed at the horror of what was unfolding. Eventually, Cannon, DDP, and Arn Anderson interfered in the match, and the match would unceremoniously end in a no contest. This was an angle rather than a pay-per-view match, and this belonged on Nitro or even Thunder. Number 8, Michael.
Now that's funny. That's funny. 5 minutes of horror on pay-per-view? Pay-per-view? What? No. That's crazy. Oh man, damn, David Flair was that bad, huh? I know he's a former United States champion. I just didn't know what like how successful he was, or apparently he wasn't that much. Uh, he probably did independent after WCW, and then that was it for him. I wonder how much training he had.
Awesome versus Vampiro Halloween Havoc 2000. On paper, a match between Mike Awesome and Vampiro on pay-per-view should have been a decent matchup. However, their pay-per-view encounter at the 2000 Halloween Havoc pay-per-view was one of the worst matches of the calendar year. Now, it's
Damn.
worth pointing out that this match was a standard match, and it was never disclosed that the match was a no DQ or no countout encounter. Obviously, WCW completely ignored this rule, and the two talented wrestlers did whatever they wanted in the ring, and the WCW commentary team was baffled as to what was even happening. One of the notable spots in the match saw Awesome and Vampiro break kayfabe and attack a fan. Also during the match, the two began to brawl with a microphone stand that was found in the crowd, which meant that WCW were basically admitting that they were using live mics in the crowd to amplify the sound. The match showcased everything that was wrong with WCW at the time. Nothing made sense and nothing seemed to matter. Number 7, Rick Steiner.
First of all, hold up. Live mic in the crowd is crazy. And to have that reveal at a time like that, bro, with no social media is ridiculous. And bro, they really went out there and had an ECW style match. Because all their matches was under extreme rules. Whether they want to fight clean or dirty, that's up to them. But these guys, it was a regular match and say, hey, let's go out there and do whatever. And then boom. The fact that the commentator team was just out there flabbergasted on what was happening is hilarious, bro. That's something I would watch intoxicated, bro, for a good laugh. A good laugh and confusion that will also lead to more good laugh. Damn, that sounds terrible. The match, not the potential experience.
Versus Sting, Great American Bash 99. One of the top matches on the Great American Bash card in 1999 was Rick Steiner vs Sting. They were colliding in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and the match was supposed to be in a serious tone, yet it resulted in one of the funniest matches in pro wrestling history. The action at first was passable, yet when the two went to the backstage area, everything just fell apart. The match featured interference from the likes of Scott Steiner and Tank Abbott, and it completely went off the rails when Sting was attacked by rabid dogs. Yeah, that's right, rabid dogs.
Damn.
The situation turned comical when it was made apparent that Sting was holding a rag on his hand in order for the dogs to safely bite him. It looked appalling and once again made WCW and its talent look like complete amateurs.
That is stupid.
Jeff Jarrett versus
That's
Sid
stupid.
versus Scott
If
Steiner.
you're gonna have a street fight, bro, just have a street fight. You're gonna have your brother come in and then with dogs? What the hell? Like, there's only so much you can do with dogs, bro. Like, they see the thing in their hand, right? Obviously, you don't want to get infected. But it's like, come on, bro. Vince really sat back there and said, this is a good idea. And we're gonna have dogs in the match. Dogs? Dogs. What? Come on, bro. It should just be scripted punches, forearms, any forms of scripted strikes, with occasional grapple to put him in position in whatever. Like,
Steiner versus Animal Sin 2001.
comical. Damn.
One of WCW's
A comical match with Sting, bro. Wow.
final pay-per-view offerings was titled Sin, and the pay-per-view saw a main event that featured a truly terrifying injury. The match saw Scott Steiner take on Sid and Jeff Jarrett in a fourth mystery man that would eventually be revealed as Road Warrior Animal. This lackluster reveal aside, it was the injury that was the talking point of the match. Sid, who never ascended up to the ropes, decided to leap off the turnbuckle, and when he landed, his leg literally snapped. It was incredibly gruesome and it led to mass panic about Sid's well-being. The match was somehow able to come to its natural conclusion, yet the consequences would be dire. Sid would reveal that he was in essence forced to deliver the move, and he subsequently sued WCW and lost his case. Sid would eventually wrestle again following the incident, yet his time as a top name in the wrestling industry was officially done. Number 5, Oklahoma.
That was nasty. Oh, Christ. Whew. I wanna. Damn, I don't even want to replay on how that occurred. 'Cause he leaped on it from the top rope, and I guess he just mislanded. Oh my gosh.
Oklahoma vs Medusa Sold Out 2000. By the time WCW arrived at Sold Out 2000, the WCW Cruiserweight title meant very little. The
Damn.
current champion was Medusa, and she would defend the title against Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a former WWE writer, Ed Ferrara, doing a tasteless impression of Jim Ross, and WCW, specifically Vince Russo, thought that this was so funny that he devoted endless amounts of TV and pay-per-view time to the character. Even though the match was thankfully short, the match was a spit in the face to talents such as Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, and Rey Mysterio, who had put in hard work to make the Cruiserweight title one of the most exciting titles in pro wrestling. The match saw Medusa, who was a credible pro wrestler, struggle to get the better of the former WWE writer, and even the commentary team were addressing how much the Cruiserweight division had fallen. The finish of the match saw Oklahoma get the win after performing what looked like a low blow and a roll-up. The lineage of a once beloved Cruiserweight title would never be the same ever again.
That don't make sense, bro. Because I know a little bit about Oklahoma. I read in the book JR was talking about how Vince Russo had a buddy of his who was involved in the business. I forgot what the position was. He stated it earlier, I think. I think he was a former WWE guy, but yeah, called him Oklahoma because JR from Oklahoma, and it was just to make fun of Jim Ross initially. Like he had the thing where he was faking the Bell palsy that JR has. It was just mocking the dude. It was trash, right? And it shows how much of a dickhead Vince Russo is. Cause why you allowing this on the program that you assigned as a promoter in? That don't make sense. And you got a dude in Oklahoma who clearly looks overweight to a degree, where he's not even like the right size to be in a cruiserweight. And you're gonna have a non-wrestler, I think it's a non-wrestler, go against a female wrestler? That don't even make sense. He's an overweight non-wrestler dude as a cruiserweight champion, and you're going against a female who already has his own division. You seen the list? It was Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho. I'm like, what? No f***ing way. That's pay-per-view. Look, TV shows is TV shows. Because what TV shows are of pro wrestling, WWE, AEW, right? They are to promote the upcoming events of the pay-per-view. They're to hype up those matches. That's what TV are for. And you're gonna have guys wrestle, of course, for like the mid-card stuff. Like somebody like Oklahoma, like at least have him on TV. You're putting him on pay-per-view, bro. We talking like what? How much was it at the time? $60? $50? Come on, bro. You want people to spend that much money on bullshit like that? Obviously, that wasn't the main attraction. But if I'm gonna pay $60, it gotta be good quality wrestling all the way around, bro.
For Sting versus
I didn't even bought the pay-per-view and I'm pissed. What? That's just a mockery to the because Vince Russo, he was the guy of the Attitude Era, right? The main influence, I guess, right? He probably had more ideas, but Vince, being a smart businessman that he is, likely shaved off a lot of those ideas. But bottom line, Attitude Era became famous because of that. Like, it's to promote and obviously to entertain. When it comes to pay-per-view, then it's go time, bro. Straight up wrestling matches. Of course, there can be promos in between, but it's not as much as the TV shows for obvious reasons.
Vampiro, Great American.
I don't care if it was 4 minutes. That's ridiculous.
Bash 2000. The idea behind the infamous rivalry between Sting and Vampiro in 2000 was for Sting to pass the torch to Vampiro. The two had similar characters, yet WCW butchered the execution of the storyline, and the story ended up destroying Vampiro's popularity. The two would face off in a Human Torch match at the Great American Bash event, and to win the match, a wrestler had to be set on fire. Vampiro would win the match by setting the icon on fire before throwing him off the top of the cage. This could have been a special moment, yet the acting and delivery was shockingly bad, and it once again made WCW look like they had no clue what they were doing. One of the reasons why the match was heavily criticized was that when Sting was thrown off from the cage, the camera cut to the floor, and it was obvious that Sting, or rather Sting's stunt double, had fallen into the biggest crash mat imaginable. The crowd was utter silent as the WCW production team sprayed fire extinguishers on Sting, and the commentary team were lost as to what to say, as they were offering comical lines such as, "They're using the fire extinguisher to keep Sting cool." Number 3, Bret Hart versus Goldberg.
I mean, that last line, like, it makes sense, right? The dude's burning. I don't get it by commentary. I gotta hear it to make sure what WrestleMania is talking about. But I mean, yeah, that's trash. If you're gonna, like, the dude fell down. Apparently, that wasn't him. That was a stunt double. Okay. They could have like done the match without that spot. Vince probably thought it was gonna be cool, and then you made it obvious, and then with this big old safety mat, right? Make sure the person don't get hurt for real. But I mean, just don't do the spot. I could imagine you was in there thinking it was a good idea. Again, ideas, man, they look, it sounds cool in your head, but when they actually come to execute it, that's when you realize, alright, that shit's dumb. That's just reality. But damn, they really flopped. That, man. Oh, man, this the match right here when Goldberg injured Bret Hart. Let me see.
Goldberg Starrcade 99. A Starrcade was WCW's signature event, and for the 1999 incarnation of the pay-per-view, WCW managed to book a match that fans genuinely wanted to see. Bret Hart would defend the world title against Goldberg, and due to this being WCW, they couldn't just book him to have a great main event match. The in-ring action was awkward.
Wait, talk about, wait. What did he say?
1999 incarnation of the pay-per-view, WCW managed to book a match that fans genuinely wanted to see. Bret Hart would defend the world title against Goldberg, and due to this being WCW, they couldn't just book him to have a great main event match. The in-ring action was awkward, and this was the dreaded match in which Hart was kicked in the skull by Goldberg, which contributed to the end of his pro wrestling career. The end of the match saw Roddy Piper come down to the ring to officiate.
I never got that what ended his career, because he had a stroke, right? Like, not too long after that one. Like, to recover from a stroke is not easy, and then to wrestle afterwards proved to be mighty difficult. Though he probably got PTSD from that kick, because now it's like, nah, F it, it's not worth it type stuff.
And as Hart locked in the sharpshooter, Piper rang for the bell. WCW had once to officiate, and as Hart locked in the sharpshooter, Piper rang for the bell. WCW had once again replicated the Montreal Screwjob as the fans groaned in unison. This was insanely lazy from WCW, and it was unfathomable how they believed their biggest show of the year could go off the air in a lifeless way. Number 2, Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, because Starrcade is like the WrestleMania of WCW. That's ridiculous. Because not only did you have Bret Hart versus Goldberg, right? Those are the two powerhouses in terms of like draw power, and then somehow they're able to mess it up choreographically, and then they end the match like that. I don't know how long that match was, cause for what I keep hearing, Goldberg wasn't that good for like a match over 5 minutes. But damn, bro, this Roddy Piper really said no expression, no nothing, as Bret Hart was turning for the sharpshooter. It won the championship, but not the way he wanted to, in character at least. That's stupid.
Versus Kenyon, New Blood Rising. During Vince Russo's time as head of writer for WCW, he had bizarre infatuation with gimmick matches that nobody wanted to see. At the New Blood Rising pay-per-view in 2000, Russo booked...
Bro, I remember Kurt Angle said when he was on TNA, he was facing somebody in a steel cage match, right? Vince Russo, I guess he was the booker at the time at TNA, or one of the guys, right? And the steel cage match was, you have to win the match by going through the door. You can't go over the top, and you can't beat them by pinfall or submission. They have to go through the door. Bro, I heard that on a podcast. I'm like, what? And Kurt Angle proceeded to say, "Yeah, it was stupid. That was Vince Russo's idea." Blah 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 blah. Bro, you know he doesn't just based off that he do creativity in pro wrestling. Vince Russo wasn't all that. That's what Kurt Angle basically said, like in that little comment he did. Damn. So let me see what genius work this is.
During Vince Russo's time as head of writer for WCW, he had bizarre infatuation with gimmick matches that nobody wanted to see. At the New Blood Rising pay-per-view in 2000, Russo booked Buff Bagwell to take on Kanyon, and the match just so happened to have Judy Bagwell on a forklift on the outside of the ring. If Kanyon won, Judy would become his new valet, whereas if Bagwell won, his mother would be set free. This match was initially advertised as a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. It goes without saying that it would have been virtually impossible to attach poor Judy to a pole.
Yeah.
The match ended up being horrendously executed, as it was just so confusing as to why Judy was even on a forklift. Kanyon would claim that it was due to her size, which was another poor attempt at comedy. But after a 6-minute bore fest, Bagwell managed to pick up the win, ending one of the most ridiculous matches ever seen on pay-per-view. And number 1,
Time out, bro. So this was a Judy at the pole match, right? Cause you have to get him off the crane. It's not by pinfall, it's not by submission. You gotta pick up a whole human being on top of the crane. What? Oh man, Vince Russo, bro. At the time, you have no choice but to shake your head. What the hell is going on? Blah blah blah. Looking at this now, bro, like what? Over 20 years, 24 years later, you're just laughing how bad it was. Oh my gosh. And Vince Russo, we don't trust. Man, if only he had somebody as strong as this McMahon on his side, WCW could have been better. Though, of course, Vince Russo couldn't have been the man in charge. He had to be like the right-hand man or something for that to work.
Hulk Hogan vs. Jeff Jarrett, Bash at the Beach 2000. Perhaps the most infamous match of the final years of WCW took place at the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view in 2000. Jeff Jarrett would defend his world title against Hulk Hogan, which on the surface was a huge match for the company, yet backstage politics as well as incompetent booking led to the match being a colossal failure. Due to Vince Russo and Hogan being unable to reach an agreement on the finish, Russo decided to book Jarrett to lay down for Hogan, allowing Hogan to win the world title. This would then lead to a storyline in which fans became aware of Hogan's backstage power. Following Hogan's victory, he would cut a promo where he declared, "Is this your idea, Russo? That's why this company is in the damn shape it's in, because of bullshit like this." However, this was when things went off the rails as Russo cut an unscripted promo which berated Hogan, and Hogan had no idea that Russo was about to bury him live on pay-per-view. This led to Hogan departing. Hogan had no idea that Russo was about
Let me read the quotes, cause I seen that part on Peacock. Well, let me see this again. Cause let me tell you people what happened out here in this ring tonight. All day long, I'm playing politics with Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan tonight wants to play his creative control card. And to Hulk Hogan, that meant that tonight in the middle of this ring, when he knew it was bullshit, he beat Jeff Jarrett. Well, guess what? Hogan got his wish. Hogan got his belt and he went the hell home. And I promise everybody, or I'll go in the goddamn grave. You will never see that piece of shit again. Yeah, he did went off like that, but damn. Man. You couldn't blame Hulk, bro, because Vince wasn't doing that great of a job. So who fault was this really? Now I'm curious.
About to bury him live on pay-per-view. This led to Hogan departing WCW and filing a defamation of character lawsuit against Russo. During this entire debacle, Russo would announce that Jeff Jarrett would take on Booker T in the main event of the show. The show would go off the air with a deserving Booker T as world champion. There you have it, folks. 10 of the worst matches.
Because Jeff Jarrett had to go out there again a second time to actually perform in a match, which was wild. Because you went out there, you threw basically threw kayfabe out the window by just like laying down, just to make a stand, via Vince Russo, and they have to go out there like for the second time, just like, who even knew what Jeff Jarrett was feeling like. But Booker T won, and it was good for him. What was that? His first? That was like what, his first world title reign? But yeah, that was tough though. Man, this video, man, was entertaining. I ain't gonna hold you. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Man, yeah, I need to get back on it. But yeah, now this is cool. Yeah, WCW was trash. Oh my god, if you're gonna treat a pay-per-view like that, bro, it's amazing to me that he has some kind of control in TNA though. I don't get it. I don't think he was the head guy. I really can't recall what his position was from what I heard from guys that used to be there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace. I'm out.